in our front body lock series, and that's going to be any time that we are in between the elbows, in front of our partner. Okay, we could have what's called a double under body lock, where we have two underhooks and we have our hands locked behind the back. Okay, we could also have our over under body lock, where we have one underhook, one overhook, and our hands are locked behind the back. Okay, so this would be what constitutes is a front body lock. Now, anytime we get a body lock where we are on the outside angle of our opponent's elbow, even if we are in front or the side of their body, what we're going to call this is a rear body lock. Okay, the reason why we have this, if we have a double under rear body lock, all we can do is just simply rotate, and now we are at our opponent's back. So therefore, this is a rear body lock. Now, from our rear body lock, we could do our double unders as well, and we could also do our over under, where we're under one arm, over the other arm, and then as we spin to the back, this just becomes a trapped arm position where we have that body lock with one arm in and it's trapped like so. Okay. Now, there's several ways to achieve this position in jiu-jitsu, and we're going to look at several of them right now. The first way, we could just be in close with our partner and we start kind of pummeling. We have one partner has one underhook, the other person has an other underhook, and as we begin to switch underhooks and pummel, okay, we're both going to be looking to try and get our hands locked. Now, if I simply lock my hands from this position, I have one underhook, I have one overhook, this would be that over-under body lock position. Now, if I dig a second underhook here, and now I have a body lock again, but this becomes a double under body lock. Now, that's one way. Another way we could look to achieve this position is by coming in, making contact, snapping the head out of the way, and then digging in our underhooks for a double under body lock, or digging in one underhook and then shooting around the arm and getting the over under body lock. Another thing we can do from here, maybe we can't move our partner's head out of the way, but we come here and we grab what's called a reverse wrist grip. So I'm grabbing in this direction like so, and as we're grappling here, I'm going to dig my elbow into that inside position. I'm going to pinch that arm tight to my body. As I release the wrist, then I have my underhook. Now, from here, if I shoot a secondary underhook and get my body lock, I have my double unders. If I go around the arm and get my body lock, then I have an over under. So it might look something like this, where we're moving, we're moving. I grab, I dig, and then I go right in. Okay? Now, another way we can do this is offer a leg attack, specifically the single leg. So if we're wrestling here or grappling, I step to the outside, I shoot my single leg. Now he begins to hit that whizzer and pull me up. I let go of the leg from here, and then I go right into my body lock. So maybe I can't get my single leg. Another option for our rear body lock is our double leg. So we're moving, I shoot in, I get my double leg. Okay, he sprawls out a little bit, and then I come up and I take the rear body lock like so. Okay? Now, some other options. We can do something like an arm drag, where I pull the arm out of the way, I step past, and as I go in, I hit my body lock. So from here, drag right into my body lock. Another thing we could do is our 2-on-1. Okay, so I collect my 2-on-1. Now from here, my hand that's on the wrist, that's going to scoop to my underhook, and this is going to have to be an over-under, and probably a rear body lock as well. So I scoop my underhook, and then I lock my hands behind the back, and now from here, I can easily just rotate to the back and have that rear body lock from my 2-on-1. Now, another thing is sometimes our opponent might take a strong collar tie on our neck. What we're going to do is an elbow punch. So we're going to take our hand on the same side of that collar tie. We're going to punch our elbow under to get our underhook. From here, again, if we get a second underhook, we get our double unders. If we go over the arm, then we get our over under body lock. Now, when we have our body lock, we're looking to control our partner's balance in four main ways. The first way is going to be in a directional or a linear path. So once I have my body lock, doesn't matter if it is front, over under, front, double under, back or rear body lock, over under, rear body lock, double under. Doesn't matter what body lock we have. We can either push into our partner with good hip position, so that's one direction, We can pull back. That's another direction. We can move to the left, and we can move to the right. Okay, so in that way, we can impact our partner's balance in a linear fashion. Now, from the body lock, whatever it may be, we can also start to rotate our partner's feet using a bit of a circular motion. So as I have my body lock, if I spin, I can dictate where their feet move based upon the spinning motion of my rotation. Okay, and it doesn't matter what body lock I have. Even if I'm on the rear, I can start to spin and change the way their feet move. Okay, in very predictable ways. That's going to be important for some of the takedowns we're going to go over later. Now the next thing is affecting the balance of the upper body. So once I have my body lock here, I lock my hands, I'm going to be looking to do what's called a tilt. So I'm going to be digging one elbow down and elevating the other elbow up. So this brings the shoulders outside of the uh, balance of the hips, and it creates an off-balancing motion in our partner. So I can tilt one direction or I can tilt the other direction. And it's done based off of my elbow positioning and a strong grip on the upper body. Okay. Now, the last way, the fourth way that we're going to look to affect our partner's balance is by lifting. So from here, it's going to be important. We do the lifting with our legs. We set in a good lower body positioning. We step in, and then we lift up with our legs. Once those feet come off the ground, whether it's a front body lock or a rear body lock, if we get that lift, then it becomes very easy for us to take our partner down. Okay, so we're going to be looking at the front body lock when we have inside leg position. And there's going to be a few different techniques for specifically that we are going to be covering here. So it doesn't really matter if we have an over-under body lock or if we have a double under body lock. But what we're looking to do, in this case, I'm going to be using my right leg, and I want to get inside foot position. Okay, this is going to be preferable because it's going to stop my partner's ability to rotate. And it's also going to allow me to get my hip position underneath theirs. That is really, really important detail in order for me to prevent a counter throw. If I have a body lock position and my hips are lower here, it's going to be very, very hard for me to get through. Okay, now from this position, a simple basic takedown that's excellent for jiu-jitsu is the simple bear hug. So what I'm going to be doing here, whether I have here, I dig in for my double under body lock, or I can even do this from an over under. Let's just say from a double under right now. What I'm going to be looking to do is I'm going to be pulling my partner's hips right in towards my stomach or my ribs. Okay, and now from here, I'm going to be driving off my back leg, stepping my front leg into this position here. You'll notice my head position on the upper body, on the shoulder line, is going to knock his shoulders back behind the line of his hips. What this is going to do is slowly tilt him back, and as he's going down to the ground in kind of like a back arching motion, I'm going to be looking to pass his guard and try and land preferably in mount, but at minimum top half guard. So what this is going to look like here, I'm going to spin him so he doesn't hit the wall. Now from here, I pull the hips in, I step forward, I step, and I land right on top, right in mount with, in this case, 2 underhooks. So very favorable position for me. So again, I'm here, we're wrestling, I shoot in, get my double unders, I pull those hips in tight, I step forward, I step up, and then I step over to get into that mount position. Now, the next thing we can do from here, we're going to be times where we shoot in, we get our double unders, and we can't quite get that break and balance that we're looking for. Now, we're going to use our lead leg, and we're going to hook behind our partner's outside leg. We're going to do an outside trip. So, from here, I shoot in, and now this lead leg hooks around, and I'm going to hit an outside trip and go down. Now, in this case, I'm winding up in close guard, which is fine because it's still going to be a takedown. So one more time. So here, I shoot my double unders. I have my inside foot position. I can't get that bear hug, so now I'm going to shoot inside trip and take my partner down. Now another option is going to be our uchi kouchi footwork. So I like to do this from a double under body lock from the front. Now from here, what I'm going to be looking to do is use my lead leg, the one that's inside the knee line, and I'm going to sweep up, lifting that close leg up off the ground. Now from here, after I sweep that leg up, I'm going to block the outside foot of the support leg, the outside part of the support leg foot. Now from here, I'm going to be pushing over, and we're going to go down, and I'm going to come on top and get into at least a side control. So what this looks like all together, I shoot my double unders, I lift this leg up, I sweep, I come down, and now I'm in a good chest on chest pinning position. So one more time, shoot, sweep, give me some more balance, sweep, chop, go down, and land on top. Now our last one, I'm calling this a hip uchi, because I'm going to be using, rather than a straightened leg to sweep that foot up, I'm going to be using my quad, and I'm going to be lifting up with my hip, kind of like I'm doing like a marcher, like a big knee, okay? From here, I'm going to use that part to lift his feet up off the ground to create that off balance, and then I'm going to rotate him over, and we're going to land on the mat over here. So I get my double unders, lift up, and then we come down and land on top. Okay, so one more time. So from here, we're here, lift up, and then I come down, landing on top, like so. So we're going to be looking at our front bylock series from an outside step. Now, when we go into our bylock, it's always a good idea to initially step in to that inside space. But what's going to happen sometimes is our partner's going to counter that, and we're going to have to go into an outside step pathway. Okay. Now, from here, a simple way we do this is we take our trail leg and we step around the corner to the outside. I really like to do kind of like a classic bylock throw from here, and that's where I pin this elbow to the ribs, and as I step around to this side. Now from here, I'm using my outside leg to really immobilize that leg so he can't step it, and as I sit down, then we're going to pop over into a very controlled throw where I land past his guard. So here we have that front bylock. I'm inside the elbows here. Okay, I shoot in my lead leg to get that inside foot position. I can't quite get him down with any of those other throws we talked about. So from here, I'm going to step to the outside. Okay, I'm using my elbow to pin this arm down. I'm using my other elbow to tilt up. And as I sit my butt down, then we're going to pop back in this direction, and I'm going to land right on top. You'll notice I'm landing on top with a good far side underhook and the ability to immediately slide up into top pressure with a chest on chest pin. Okay, so that's a really good aspect of this throw. One more time, I have that position. From here, I'm using my overhook arm to pin that elbow. Okay, I'm pushing my elbow in, and then I'm stepping around, blocking, and I'm sitting and loading and throwing. Okay, so that is kind of like a sit and pop throw from our front bylock. Now another thing we can do here from an outside step is maybe we can't quite get to that position with our trail leg. What we're going to be doing is taking our lead leg and stepping it right to the outside. Now we're going to make sure from this position that our hip line is lower than our partner's. If we do this step and our hips are too high, what's going to happen is our partner's probably going to take an overhook or a headlock and begin to throw us over, and that's not going to be good. So as you take your outside step with your body lock, hip height is critical. So I step, my hips are low. Now from here, what I can do is a hip swing. So I'm going to be using my hips and my legs to lift him off the ground, and then I'm going to be using my body lock to swing his legs forward. And it's going to swing his legs out in this direction, allowing me to put him right on his back. So as I hit my body lock, whether it's over under or a double under, I step to the outside with good hip position. This is key, guys. Now I lift up, and then I swing, and then we land on the mat like so. Now I want to land with control in the training environment. Obviously in competition, you can up the amplitude here. So one more time here or here, I step to the outside, I lift, and I swing. Okay, so that's our hip swing. Now, sometimes we might not be able to get that, so we're going to use an assist from our knee, and I'm going to call this the knee swing. very similar position. I step to the outside. Now I'm using my knees as I lift up to swing out the legs. Okay, so very similar setup, very similar finish, small detail changes there in the middle. So one more time here. As I get my body lock, I step to the outside. As I'm lifting, this knee's gonna swing the legs out, and I'm gonna land right on top. Okay, now in jiu-jitsu, I can attack the top position like mount, or if he starts to turtle, then I'd be going to look to attack the back. Now, the last thing I like to do from my outside step, okay, whether I'm over under or double unders, is I'm going to do a shuck to a rear body lock. So as I step, I shuck by, and now I have my rear body lock and all the pathways that we're going to talk about in a second. So one more time, here, outside step, shuck. Now I have my rear body lock to attack. So from our rear body lock position, we have three main attacks we're going to be looking for. So the first one is going to be our mat return. So let's say we get here, we shuck by, and now we're on the rear body lock. Or let's say we do an arm drag, we hit our body lock, now we're on the rear body lock. From here, we're going to be doing a mat return. Now, it's important, there's a few features in here that's going to be important for jiu-jitsu, okay? First is we're looking to control at the hip line with one of our arms, and well, really the body lock, and we're looking to control the shoulder line with our other shoulder. Okay, so in this case, this arm is the hip line, and this arm, this shoulder is controlling his shoulder line. So when I have that position here, you can see this arm is tight around the hip and the waist, and this shoulder is right underneath his shoulder blade. Now when I have my body lock, either his arm is trapped or I don't have his arm trapped, either one is fine. I have the ability to drive my shoulder down, and with my elbow I have the ability to scoop his hip up. Okay, this puts a lot of pressure on his body, puts him off balance, and makes him feel as if he has to go into a forward roll type motion. Once I have the upper body grips set up, I'm going to be using my legs to create a lifting motion, and then I'm going to be using my arms to swing out his legs. So here I have my upper body set, I lift up, I swing, and then we go down into a mat return. Now for jiu-jitsu, obviously this is favorable because then I'm going to be landing right into a good opportunity to attack the back. Now, the next thing we can look to do from our back body lock is our foot sweep. So from here, whether we have the arm trapped or not, we're going to be looking to do a foot sweep by tapping out at the foot here. So I'm going to be creating movement. I can't do this from a static position. So what I need to do here is as I'm going, I'm moving in one of the directions. Okay, I'm pulling back, I'm pushing forward, we're going to the side. I need his feet moving. Once his feet are moving, that will allow me to sweep them out and get on the back. Okay, so again, I do something that sets up that rear body lock. Maybe it's a 2-on-1. I get to the back. I move my partner around in a direction, and then I'm using my outside foot to sweep out that foot that's nearest it. So here, sweep and land on top. Now, the last one we're going to be doing, I call this the Henzo back take because I learned it from watching a Henzo Gracie instructional. So from here, what I'm going to be looking to do is that foot that I was doing that foot sweep with, I'm going to reach over the leg and I'm going to insert a hook on the far leg, kind of like so. Now from here, I need to make sure my body lock is on tight and strong and I have control of his hips. Okay, I don't want him to be able to wiggle out of this. Now, I like to do this when I have the arm trapped because I find it easier to be able to go over the shoulder line to get that choke after the takedown occurs. Now, when I have this outside leg here swings over, and now from here, I'm pulling the body lock into me, I'm hopping backwards with my supporting leg, and then we're going to land on the mat like so. From here, I can do a little bit of a shrimp, I can attack the hip with my knee, and now I can swing this up, and now I can hand fight right into my choke. So one more time. I go here, I get to my back body lock. Now, with the arm trapped, I'm going to look to reach over with my leg insert the hook on the far leg, active foot. I'm hopping, 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 pull down. From here, I slide into a good back control position, seatbelt grip, shrimp out, knee high, collect the hip, pummel, and now hand fight for a good back control finish.